It is Monday, September 21st, and I tell you, some of the best people are born in September, and some of the best news comes in September. I am so excited because the CDC, along with CLEAR, just released some guidelines that will allow for the resumption of cruising. Yippee! Ready to go, I tell you this. All right, settle down, settle down. It's just the beginning, but I know it's just been so long. So anyway, let us get into the meat of the matter. And so I am reading from CLEAR's own website, and of course, being we are a CLEAR certified agency, and I am a certified cruise agent living in the island of Jamaica but working internationally. I am just so elated. So, bullet points, just so that we don't spend forever reading this document, which is extremely long. These are the highlights. Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I need to get serious. Oh, it's all too serious. I just need some fun in my life, man. That's why we're the fun people. There's going to be 100% testing of passengers and crew for the virus prior to embarkation. So, as soon as you get to the pier, you will be tested. And my input right here is to ensure that you find an insurance offer, whether through your trusted travel advisor or otherwise, that will cover cancellation based on being tested positive. Because if you are all packed at the pier, ready to do your embarkation, and you test positive, you can't sail. So, very important. Next, mask wearing. There will be mandatory wearing of masks by all passengers and crew on board and during excursions, whenever physical distance cannot be maintained. I like that part. So one of the scary thoughts was we would all have to walk around the ship forever in masks. But as the wording indicates, whenever social distancing is not possible, mask wearing is required. And the good thing about it, 6 feet, that is the prescribed distance based on the study that has shown that when an infected person coughs or sneezes or speaks and droplets come out of their nose or mouth, it has a possibility of falling up to 6 feet. So, as long as social distancing is maintained on a vessel, then you would need to wear a mask. However, if you will be coming within 6 feet, then you wear a mask. Fair enough. It's funny because your mask has suddenly become a part of your accessory. Physical distancing, we call it social distancing. So, physical distancing in terminals. You get into check-in on your arrival day. You can no longer be bunching up, right? So people of the same family may remain together. However, the stranger, that nice girl ahead of you on the escalator going up, sorry guys, you're gonna have to keep your distance. I tell you, there's an ulterior motive afoot with this, but I'm just saying, also on board the ships, physical distance must be maintained. On private islands, remember, physical distancing must be maintained. And during shore excursions. So whether it is a perfect day at Coco Cay, whether it's Haviski, whether it is, there's so many of them. As long as you're on a private island during the daytime, physical distancing is always, there's no or about it. Definitely a required mandate. And of course on shore excursions. So as you can imagine, the buses will have less persons, and the protocol for that transfer will be different as well. Ventilation, air management, and ventilation strategies are a major part of what will be done. This is to increase fresh air on board, and where feasible, using enhanced filters and other technologies to mitigate the risk. You know, I've always said I am not good with being in an enclosed space. And my last cruise, I was in an inside cabin. It was a short cruise. I didn't spend a lot of time in the inside cabin, but I knew it was not for me. Mark you, it was not a revenue sailing. I was a guest of Norwegian on the Encore. They assigned me where it was suitable for them, I guess based on my production. But I was on the ship. I was on the Encore. However, balconies are definitely going to be the first to be booked now, because the airflow is a major indicator. So if you're sailing and you really want a balcony on your favorite ship with that great itinerary, you know what you need to do. You don't know what to do? Of course you do. You book now. It's a no-brainer. Now remember, these are the guidelines that the ships must follow, and so the medical capacity is a major thing that must be taken into the planning, and it should allow for risk-based response, and each ship must be able to manage its medical needs, have dedicated cabin capacity allocation for isolation. So in other words, you have to have cabins available if you are going to isolate suspected cases. And what that means, which it's technically going to happen if the ships are no longer sailing at capacity, but what it means is that once somebody has been determined or suspected to have contracted the virus, they must be the facility to isolate them. And so medical capacity and isolation becomes important. And of course, there must be advanced arrangements with private providers for shoreside quarantine. Now, this is so very important, because as you remember, when the outbreak happened on those two vessels initially, they quarantined the clients on the ship, which turned out not to be such a good idea. So you want to get them off the ship. You need, for every destination that you will encounter, that there must be provisions for shoreside quarantine. Medical facilities must be also accessible. Arrangements must be made to access them by the cruise line, and transportation must be in place. So these are some of the guidelines, and it makes you feel so much more assured that in the event that a client is determined to have contracted the virus, provisions are in place to take care of their care. Now this one is a big one, shore excursion. So MSC started this with the Grandiosa, and as trendsetters, I see that they have been the stamp that everybody is following. So now shore excursions will only be permitted through cruise operators. So those cruise excursions that many people never wanted to purchase, seems like that's the only way you're gonna be able to get off the ship to see the port, the destination. So get ready to trump up some good money. But I also believe that because the capacity will be reduced, then the crowd and the herding might be reduced as well. You can see how my love is for cruise excursions, but we have choices, right? You can stay on board. I mean, think about it. Empty ship means more space for you. Just saying. Now, according to the document, it says these elements do not preclude additional measures that may be adopted by individual lines, but they must be adopted by the company's CEO of each line. Measures will be continually evaluated and adjusted against the current state of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the availability of new prevention and mitigation measures. And of course, as I told you, the article is long. It's a legal document and it's wordy, very verbose. But if we were to summarize, this is what it would say: physical distancing on board and on shore. That's in play. Cruise line shore excursions with equivalent protocol must be observed all the time. Mask wearing by passengers and crew all the time. Well, whenever they cannot be socially or physically distant. And 100% testing of passengers and crew prior to embarkation. So, there you have it. When will we sail again? 2020, I hear. Will you be there? Leave your comments in the comment section below, and we will talk about it. That's how we see it today in the daily news.